looks like they're already in, so this is just a best of one. Oh, I should have done the predictions. Guys, I'll do the predictions real quick. I'll just give you a quick minute though. Oh, guys, predict now. It's so cheap because you guys can see the picking bands. But hey, try to vote. Try to vote. My fault for forgetting. You guys got 1 minute. Go, go, go.
Right now, this is incredibly interesting because they are, I believe, yeah, there's only 2 Tems that are different. The Momo and the Raikin. And then the 𝗧𝗵𝗺𝗶𝗴 and the 𝗵𝗵𝗵, I believe. Everything else is pretty much the same.
Yeah, very, very similar teams. There's just a lot of staples. So if we notice something from this monthly invitational today, a lot of scunch, almost scunch in every single team. So I will call that a staple. Fire 𝗶𝗺 in every single team. Definitely a S tier staple or A tier, high A tier staple. 𝗵𝗺𝗺 to answer those neutrals. You know, 𝗵𝗺 here and there, but Raikin if you don't have 𝗵𝗺, or Momo if you don't have 𝗵𝗺. Valorant, of course, always a staple. But yeah, you know, not a lot of water Temtems on the side of Laion. I think no one came prepared to face down a triple fire squad from Faiman. I mean, 𝗵𝗵𝗵 with those Dust Vortex, Fire 𝗶𝗺 with the water cannon, 𝗵𝗵𝗵 with the mud showers. That's kind of answers for those fire Temtems, so we'll see. So yeah, it's possible, but Faiman's looking decent. And speaking of Faiman and his fire Temtem, starting off with the king of the jungle himself, it is Mr. Raikin coming out as the opener. So how does Laion want to get things started? Fire 𝗶𝗺, somewhat of a given. It might be too susceptible to a 𝗵𝗵𝗺 though, so maybe something like a fire 𝗶𝗺 𝗵𝗵𝗵. I feel like that feels okay, but then maybe you don't punish down a scunch opening from Faiman. So a couple decisions. I kind of like the fire 𝗶𝗺 𝗵𝗵𝗵. That feels like okay in my book.
I was thinking along the lines of Valorant 𝗵𝗵𝗵 actually, something along those lines. Not necessarily counting the Raikin right away. I mean, you'll have that turn 2 for that, so don't really need that. But at the same time, right, you don't want to get your 𝗂𝗀𝗶𝗵 banned. So Laion might be actually forced to pick up a 𝗂𝗀𝗶𝗵 here, just because that ban threat is so big. But I do think a win Tem here would be nice. So 𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺 picked up instead. So yeah, this is what I kind of wanted. Like, Laion is not pressured to beat the Raikin turn 1. Raikin isn't, you know, your Momos or anything like that. It doesn't have a turn 2 that's gonna suddenly turn it into a monster. So you can play a more consistent game. But then a 𝗵𝗵𝗵 picked up a 𝗵𝗵𝗵 picked up actually. Faiman going straight into it. But this is why I like 𝗵𝗵𝗵 so much here, is you have Dust Vortex turn 2, and you can play punish the 𝗵𝗵𝗵. And even if the 𝗵𝗵𝗵 stays in turn 2, you can then decide to just double plague it and kill it, even if you really wanted to.
Yeah,
well,
𝗵𝗵𝗵,
again, that 𝗂𝗺𝗺 still in the back pocket.
Yeah, 100%. 𝗵𝗵𝗵 feels very, very strong. And there we go. The scunch wasn't picked up. Instead, it was the 𝗵𝗵𝗵 as we saw. So don't pick up the scunch. Laion will be banning it. So I think these picking bans feeling, I mean, they still feel really neck and neck, but you know, if 𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺 retreats and 𝗵𝗵𝗵 tries to get greedy to kill the 𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺 and then Plague connects, that 𝗵𝗵𝗵 with the turn 2 either does Vortex to Raikin, or you could Plague one more time if it was over 50%. That feels pretty good on the side of Laion, but we'll see. Of course, that's just the first couple turns. That doesn't paint the full picture. He still has 𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺 to maybe pick up, but you know, I think he felt comfortable with the 𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺. He does have things like the Firefish. He does have 𝗵𝗺. And last Temtem for Laion. Who does he want to pick up? And just because that 𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺 got picked up, there we have it. The very last matchup of our Swiss rounds. It's not Swiss, but you know, earlier rounds. Who is going to take it? As we said earlier, a little bit of the battle of Brazil. One of these tamers will be representing them. We'll see. Faiman, our alpha hero, going against our weekly champion, Laion. Let's see who gets it in this simple best of one here.
Viva Brazil.
There we go.
So, yeah, I mean, when it comes to favors, this is one of those unorthodox. Both players are running an unorthodox opening. This is not an opening you usually see, of course. There's not necessarily theory behind this. So, when it comes to unorthodox openings, it's about understanding what you want to do with it, because these kinds of openings can make or break your second turn. And now, I have a sneaky suspicion that maybe one of these players will try and play for that second turn. If both of them play for the second turn, perfect. We then have a fast game that's being played slowly. But if someone jumps the gun, makes a mistake, then it'd be a total disaster here.
Yeah, and looking at the scoreboard, that 𝗏𝗠𝗀 spot looks a bit juicy for the side of Faiman. Something like a 𝗬𝗀𝗄𝗀 Thunder Strike on that 𝗏𝗠𝗀 spot. Either the 𝗏𝗏𝗀 100% goes down. If there's any swaps, 𝗏lash cannot eat a 𝗬𝗀𝗄𝗀. 𝗬𝗏 doesn't really want to eat that either. And then the Thunder Strike to cover the 𝗬𝗀 spot too. That's almost looking like a really juicy play. Of course, you're going to have to eat the plague. But 𝗬𝗫 has chamomile online. So I think this opening turn might be favoring Faiman. I could be wrong, but that left spot feels very weak on the side of Laion. Let's see if Faiman recognizes that as well. Or does he want to perhaps pressure the 𝗬𝗶𝗴? Because 𝗬𝗶𝗴 does a lot for Laion's team. That turn 2 does Vortex will be smacking one of these Temtems. So he could think the 𝗏𝗏𝗀 swaps out and try to 𝗬𝗀𝗄𝗀 the 𝗬𝗶𝗴. But I like the first play there. I think double up onto the 𝗏𝗏𝗀 spot. That feels pretty free.
Absolutely. I mean, again, this all comes down to general understanding and who flinches. Laion will be swapping out that 𝗏𝗏𝗀 for the 𝗬𝗏, setting up for that turn 2 𝗧𝗏𝗺𝗀𝗃. And the 𝗬𝗫 does in fact stay in, so does the 𝗏𝗏𝗃. So both players gonna get what they really want here, and that's actually a big disaster for the side of Faiman. But the Thunder Strike, 𝗬𝗀𝗄𝗀 trying to kill off the 𝗬𝗏, not quite there, and will survive. But this is what I mean. Now Laion can severely punish Faiman's 𝗏𝗃 for staying in. He will be punished for his insolence, as well as 𝗧𝗏𝗺𝗃 still being available. The 𝗬𝗏 can leave knowing that he will have his holds unlocked already. I mean, you can swap in like a 𝗂𝗀𝗃 here even. 𝗂𝗀𝗃 would be alright with this swap in. And then you just burst down the 𝗏𝗃, I think.
Yeah, I could see that. I believe since 𝗏𝗃 is trapped for Faiman, I think Faiman's only option is to try to bring the Momo to let that 𝗏𝗃 get off anything. You have to outspeed the does Vortex, because I believe from 83%, of course, depending on those TVs on the 𝗏𝗃, a lot of max special attack 𝗬𝗶𝗴s will be able to one-shot it from this position. So we'll see. It's very close. I think if he wants to make sure the 𝗬𝗏 definitely goes down, he has to bring in the Momo, but the 𝗬𝗏 saving it for a later date. As you said, Blue, the 𝗬𝗏 coming out just in case. And let's see if it is going to be the Momo. Oh, the Volirin. Interesting.
Thus, Vortex does follow through here and one-shots the 𝗏𝗃 completely. Absolutely disgusting there. And yeah, as you mentioned, the Volirin swapped in. Didn't go for anything really, and I kind of agree, maybe a Momo would have been good there, but regardless, Laion, I mean, this is what I was talking about. That first turn, Faiman went for it and he got punished for it, and now he has to play down a full Tem. Now that's not to say the 𝗬𝗏 is healthy or anything, but it does make it very hard.
Yeah, and with that Momo coming through, he would have at least got one 𝗬𝗀𝗄𝗀 onto the 𝗬𝗃. That's like 50% damage that he could have had. Momo wouldn't have been terrible on this board either. Undermine would have came online to really do big boy damage. I think Faiman was a bit hesitant, thinking that if you swap in Momo, maybe a big old savage suplex or 𝗬𝗏𝗍𝗏𝗍 coming its way. So yeah, I could almost see that, but yeah, Raikkonen, maybe he thought he can live it. It was kind of healthy, so maybe he was just trying to go for the Raikkonen living on that HP.
Plague connecting on the 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗏 here. Again, reducing it a little bit, and this is so scary for the side of Faiman, because this 𝗬𝗏𝗶 is such a thorn in his backside, because now I have this sneaking suspicion that 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗏 is just straight up dead here.
Yeah, and Laion making the sharpest reads ever, knowing that he brought in 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗏, swapping into the 𝗏𝗏𝗏, plaguing the 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗏, keeping it trapped in, so that should be another guaranteed kill. And that's a rather free. You know what? I'm almost tempted if he wants to go for Madness buff, but I think you just kill. I think you just Crystal Spike, get the 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗏 out the way. Volrin is already falling in that special defense department, so HKS will chunk. Oh, what if something like Tornado HKS kills? I don't think so, but it's gonna be kind of close. But Laion is going really well so far in just the first couple turns, but I still think it's fairly close. But like you said, Blue, that 𝗬𝗏𝗶 making a big difference in this game. Hey, Blue, give me a second. Let me run to the bathroom real quick.
All good. Yeah, so I mean, for sure, this 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗏 definitely doomed, ladies and gentlemen. And I mean, right now, 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗏 on the side of Laion as well, still available, especially for this Momo. So, not relatively easy whatsoever. And while we wait, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to also point out, how's everybody doing today? You feeling good? You feeling average? I'm pressing X right now for you all. But the swap does come out here for Laion. The 𝗬𝗏𝗶 will be coming out here. The 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗏 instead will be swapped in to try and do some setup, perhaps absorb that hyperkinetic strike. But no, it goes straight into the 𝗏𝗏𝗏, drops it below 50% HP. A tornado may perhaps get the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 kill, and it does come through. Will this 𝗏𝗏𝗏 survive? This is so big because it turns the tables, and in fact it does. Laion loses the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 before he gets the opportunity to kill off the 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗏, but the 𝗏𝗏𝗏, still caged in like an animal, will for sure die next turn as it forcibly overexerts. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this game has been blown wide open.
And Blue, thank you for covering. And sorry, I tried to hold it in until the break, but I had to go. So hey, oh wait, Blue, did the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 go down to the Tornado HKS?
HKS Tornado insta-gived it. Didn't even get the chance.
Yeah, incredible, because 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 should have gone down. Surprisingly enough, a lot of speedy 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏s, because 𝗏𝗏𝗏 a lot more naturally speedier than 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, so maybe electing not put too much speed TVs on there, because it takes a lot of investment for 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 to outspeed a 𝗏𝗏𝗏. But that is so huge, enough to swing things back around in the favor of Faiman. So let's see how he's going to capitalize on this.
Noxious bomb thrown out here into the scunch, will take it down, and the tables have turned. Laion now down a full Tem. Hypoxia to follow the Volrin should die here, but no, not quite there. And this is so dangerous now. Look at this plus. The tables have turned. It's a 3-on-4.
It was looking so good. If the Crystal Spike could have gone off, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 would have been doing all this devastating damage. So hey, Laion was looking decently good early on, but with that Grumper in the back line to check the 𝗂𝗀𝗏, the Momo, Momo do Momo things onto 𝗬𝗏𝗏 and the 𝗂𝗀𝗏. Faiman looking fairly comfortable. And yeah, Laion down to his final 3 Temtem. So 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏 does come out. But 𝗧𝗺 just did a noxious bomb, so it could go down swinging. Something like a hyperkinetic strike to overexert and let himself go. That seems somewhat appropriate. Either 𝗬𝗵𝗵 eats it or the Fire 𝗬𝗀𝗃 eats it. I think either way is some good value. You bring in that Grumper and Momo, whichever, or most likely the Grumper is looking decently good. So Faiman could be going back into it. We have to see who's going to face this next round.
Right, absolutely. I mean, Laion, the fight looked so clean for him, and then suddenly the tables turn. This is how easy it is to turn the match if you have that one weakness. Someone manages to take the risk and takes the fight right to the enemy. And the Faiman, he made an early mistake and he's already making up for it. HK has to shut down the 𝗬𝗵𝗵 and tick tock as another trade goes his way. Momo still in the back, Grumper still in the back. 𝗏𝗀𝗃 now exposed with no potential swap, and the EM as well to just put the nail in the coffin, exhausting a piece here.
Yeah, it's still a little tiny bit close. I think Faiman, I was thinking you just bring the Momo to try to do as much damage as possible. Because Grumper, yes, he's incredible into this board, but a water cannon will do some fair amount of damage, something like 30-40%, if not a little bit more. So I'm scared if Grumper goes down, then Laion feels a bit better. I mean, you have way better matchup against a Momo, so we'll see. Of course, all Grumper has to do is click Thunder Strike on the 𝗏𝗀𝗃, goes all the way down, and then Thunder Strike on the 𝗬𝗀𝗃, followed by whatever the 𝗏𝗀𝗃 has to throw at it. It will also go all the way down. So Grumper just has to survive water cannon and maybe a beta burst coming through just to do max potential. Or it could just be 𝗏𝗀𝗃 beta burst to kill Faiman's, but that leaves Grumper even healthier, so we'll see.
Momo gets swapped in here. Beta burst does come through into the Grumper spot, trying for a miracle here. We'll see if the answers are there, but no. Electric Storm should one-shot the 𝗏𝗀𝗃, and the 𝗬𝗀𝗃 takes such a devastating blow as well. And there's just nothing left here for Laion. The 𝗬𝗃, down to its last legs, is undermined, seals the deal, secures that win. And Faiman with an amazing comeback to take the losers final.
That is right. Insane stuff. Comeback story indeed. Looking kind of rough, but back at it again.
As much 𝗬𝗀𝗃 over the last couple of months. You know, after our salad season ended and we were back to a little bit more aggressive and a lot more fire as well. You know, even when you're headed into a salad or a toxic team, 𝗬𝗀𝗃 always finds its value. That's one of the few tems that I will probably never remove from my main squad.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rawrzyyy. I definitely think 𝗬𝗀𝗃 is a bit underrated. It used to see a lot less play, like you said, when 𝗀𝗃s were everywhere, 𝗬𝗵𝗵s were everywhere, but now the meta is more like neutral, Fire 𝗬𝗀𝗃, 𝗬𝗺. So yeah, 𝗬𝗀𝗃 feels okay. Definitely now it's able to match those speeds, if not outspeed those neutral Temtems. So I agree, Rawrzyyy. I think 𝗬𝗀𝗃 highly underrated currently. Well, let's see. So Faiman, as we keep saying, with that triple fire lineup, and yeah, I see what you mean, Rawrzyyy. Those Temtems not looking too good, like the 𝗀𝗃, the 𝗏𝗏𝗃. We'll see how much he's able to get done. He still has some good tools, though.
I mean, it's a little difficult, I guess, now with the way that these bans have gone. Losing Raikkonen right away, and Faiman pretty desperately needs this 𝗬𝗺 for these two Tems that Amaru is led with. And that means that Faiman's going to lose another one of his fire Tems, probably the 𝗬𝗃𝗃, which would really just mean that this special attacking Drakash is going to struggle a little bit more against some of the Tems like 𝗬𝗺 that have that much better special defense.
Yeah, and this was a really good orange side for the side of Shakur. The 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴 opener checks a lot of the stuff, so you kind of want to bring in your cash, but of course water cannon is going to be doing a huge number. So does decide on the Grumper, so Thunderstrike looking straight at that 𝗂𝗀𝗃, but so is a WCL. Honestly, WCL with the water synergy to its right, that's going to be doing big damage onto any target it decides, except the Vulnerant if he does swap into that, calling it. But yeah, we've seen it in the past. 𝗏𝗠𝗀 can't even eat 2 WCL, so he could go there thinking if the Grumper wants to retreat, or you punish that Grumper for staying in to take down the 𝗂𝗀𝗃. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to call things too soon.
Yeah, I mean, this lead of Fire 𝗂𝗀𝗃 and 𝗧𝗏 is exactly what we've seen from a lot of the exotic French players. I guess a little more specifically, the Enigma players that joined exotic French. But I think we've seen 𝗧𝗏𝗃 using it as well. It's just so strong, giving the Synergy Master onto settling water cutting lilies.
Yeah, that sounds so destructive.
And it puts this Grumper in a very difficult spot. I mean, it was kind of like you said, Amaru has free reign to attack whatever he wants to. You know, he could double into this Grumper spot saying, if you stay in, you die. And if you swap, I'm going to hurt whatever comes in. Because out of Skunch, Momo, and 𝗂𝗀𝗃, nobody really wants to take Water Cannon and Synergy Water Cutting Lily.
Yeah, that's impressive. I can't believe, I thought the Vulnerant felt decently good, but not liking his options there. So as you said, no good swap. So we will see if Amaru takes clean advantage of that opportunity. It seems crystal clear, not super clear, but a really good line of play for the side of Shakur. But let's get it. Tamers and Temdets, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, is that what you said?
Tamers and Temets.
Temets, there we go. Tamers and Temets. It is the losers finals, best of 3 series here. So Faiman trying to get a crack at J-Dragon. Shakur trying to get a crack one more time. He didn't like falling down to him, so trying to get back into that driver's seat. Let's see who is going to be taking it for this game number 1 of this best of 3 series.
Yeah, I mean, immediately, I feel like the lead for Amaru is very strong, but the backline of Faiman, if he finds a way to handle either 𝗂𝗀𝗃 or 𝗧𝗏𝗃, I feel like Skunch, Momo, and 𝗂𝗀𝗃 are much better than the 𝗏𝗏𝗏, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, and Vulnerant that Amaru has in the back. So he definitely hasn't lost right away. Oh. But as I say that, just so much damage under this Grumper. I mean, it goes down just like that before 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's even able to attack.
And there we go. At least the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 trying to repay some of the debt that this guy just collected onto that Grumper there. 25% on the Synergy Master, 144 base damage on the synergized water cutting Lily. Going crazy, almost one-shotting the Grumper. But I like that he went 𝗃𝗃𝗏𝗃, didn't even care about the water cannon because he knew how much damage the 𝗧𝗏𝗃 was going to do. But now 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has a bit of a good check here for the 𝗂𝗀𝗃. The Tornado, if it outspeeds the 𝗧𝗏𝗃, he won't get all that synergy bonus onto the 𝗧𝗏𝗃 WCL. So we'll see what's able to go first.
Yeah, I mean, that could be huge. If Tornado goes first, takes down this 𝗂𝗀𝗃, I think that Faiman's 𝗂𝗀𝗃 would be able to survive and probably do more damage back to Amaru's 𝗧𝗏𝗃, seeing as, you know, the 𝗧𝗏𝗃 is settling. It is built a little bit speedier and doesn't have as much defensive investment as the 𝗧𝗏𝗃s that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I agree. 𝗃𝗃𝗏𝗃 is always online for the Faiman fire 𝗂𝗃𝗃, so that should be big damage. I believe Shakur is playing a settling 𝗧𝗏𝗃, so surprising enough, all the 𝗧𝗏𝗃s we saw in today's monthly, they've all been settling trade, which a lot of people have been considering 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 the better trade, but some of these players electing to go the other way, so you're not going to get that +1 defense from one of these attacks. So just a clean 2 𝗃𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗃s most likely will take the 𝗧𝗏𝗃 down. So that's something these Tamers are thinking about here.
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace, seeing a lot more settling, a lot more, you know, early game aggressive 𝗧𝗏𝗃 rather than the end game surviving. Findy
Wait,
targeting down 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, that may have been a misclick.
Oh.
The water cutting lily does come through as well, though. It outspeeds anything Barnshey has to offer. It was calculated. It was calculated.
I thought it was the BM, but wow, talk about stamina conservation, not letting anything go, playing perfectly. 𝗧𝗵𝗵 did eat a boatload of damage right there from the 𝗬𝗀, but what a beautiful read. 𝗵𝗵 being 3 prio, 𝗧𝗵𝗵 WCL also 3 prio, so both of the Temtems outspeeding the Barnshey 3 prio, not letting it go. What an impressive little cheeky play right there. I don't think we've ever seen 𝗵𝗵 or 𝗵𝗵.
I do like that play. I think there's definitely the potential. That water cutting lily dropped HP so quickly. There may have been no need for the thing.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
but I do like the idea. I do like the idea because a fire 𝗂𝗊 isn't going to hurt a fire 𝗂𝗊.
But 𝗧𝗵𝗵 finally out of stamina, the P-jab staying, keeping that, or bringing it down to size. But 𝗂𝗊, if he gets off one 𝗬𝗀, and it will get off a 𝗬𝗀, so 𝗧𝗵𝗵 does go down, but I think the deed has been done. The damage is already there. That is 3 Temtems down for the side of Faiman. Every single turn, 1 Temtem has fallen down because we are on turn 3. That is quite impressive, guys. The 𝗧𝗵𝗵 𝗂𝗊 as an opener, insanely strong against Faiman's current board. Or
yeah,
previous board.
That final turn there, it's... Yeah, I think that Faiman had to try and predict 𝗧𝗵𝗵's overexertion and really just kill 𝗂𝗊 instead, because you can always kill an overexerted 𝗧𝗵𝗵 on the turn where it can't attack. It would leave Amaru an opportunity to swap it out, but there's so much damage that a 𝗂𝗊 could do to everything in Amaru's backline. We're at that point now, though. Momo is down to 23%. 𝗂𝗊 has just overexerted itself. Momo is now dead from base jump, and now Faiman just has to sit here and watch as probably 𝗏𝗏 comes in and takes a madness buff, or 𝗏𝗏 just gets a free noxious bomb.
Yeah, so GG. I mean, Amaru coming out swinging. Either he was hella warmed up from the Rawrzyyy. So game number 2, let's go ahead and give the victory to Amaru. We're spectating on his side just because we spectated on Faiman's side the previous game. And hey, oh no, never mind. Faiman, of course, losing, so choosing that blue side. And wait a minute, Rawrzyyy. Wait a minute. The same opening? Okay. How? Okay, maybe thinking the P-jab 𝗬𝗀 is gonna make a difference here.
Now, I have to be completely honest. I'm a little bit worried about something with Faiman's lead. 𝗬𝗏 is on the wrong spot, so if they're speed tied, 𝗬𝗀 is going before the perfect jab.
Very
the only
true.
instance where this would work out for Faiman is if 𝗬𝗏 is one faster than 𝗂𝗊, which really just isn't something that's all that common. They're usually a speed tied.
Yeah, I mean, definitely considering the 3 prio versus normal prio, so you have to take that 50% additional speed into consideration. So yeah, it's a really tough to try to get that 𝗬𝗏 to really go first, but we'll see. I mean, Faiman elected to keep in both of these Temtems, banning the 𝗏𝗏, banning the Barnshey. So we saw how destructive this opener is, or was rather, for the side of Faiman. Maybe going to be changing up a game plan, but it almost felt so oppressive that no matter what Faiman did, he didn't really have a good line of play to eat up all that damage. And hey, Rawrzyyy, the same idea. 𝗏𝗏 or 𝗧𝗏𝗃, Faiman is considering here.
I mean, okay, 𝗧𝗃 is good for 𝗧𝗵𝗵, but it looks like this lead is targeting this 𝗧𝗵𝗵 very heavily. 𝗧𝗃 is also good for 𝗏𝗏, but that's not set in stone. I think that 𝗏𝗏 is necessary here to fight off the opposing 𝗏𝗏 and 𝗂𝗊. No, 𝗧𝗃.
Yeah, and Faiman just sticking to his guns. 𝗧𝗃 has been an MVP for him all day, so just staying with what he's comfortable with, or what he honestly feels is best against Amaru here. Let's see if 𝗏𝗡 gets picked up. I think Grandpa will be getting more value. That is 2 fire Temtem, so 𝗏𝗡 doesn't want any of that smoke. So let's go ahead, guys. Game 1 was rather fast. Let's see if game 2 has a bit more game for us to spectate.
Yeah, so 𝗂𝘀𝗃 and 𝗬𝗏, the old 𝗃𝗃 meta on its own, versus the new school, the Synergy Master Water Cutting Lily, which, I mean, really right now, staring at both of these Tems on Faiman's side, I think that either of them could die this turn from a double in.
Yeah, I think so as well, but here goes the move of the hour last game. WCL going first, going close to 57% exact. So 𝗃𝗃 does indeed go first for Faiman. So this 𝗧𝗵𝗵 might be going all the way down. All right.
That 𝗃𝗃 may not have been required.
No, I think it did. Well, we'll see. I mean, the HP did go flying. So Faiman already finding the big answer to the 𝗧𝗵𝗵. 𝗧𝗵𝗵 literally killed 3 Temtems back to back. So that is already really good news for Faiman. So we'll see how Shakur wants to try to bring things around, because the early turn 1 kill, that's a bit of momentum lead for Faiman.
It has to be mentioned as well, Amaru probably has the speed advantage for this turn, as Faiman's locked into that 170 number of the 𝗬𝗏, while, you know, Amaru can go as fast as he pleases on this 𝗂𝘃, as he's not perfect jabbing first, and 𝗵𝗏 is often built to be, well, no, this one's unnoticed, so it may not be as speedy early on. But either way, I think that this synergy on Amaru's 𝗂𝗃 is going to be faster than Faiman's.
Yeah, and we did see it go before Amaru's 𝗂𝘃. Speed arrow is on Faiman's side, so potentially could go first one more time. But no, oh no, did the 𝗂𝗃 go first on Amaru's side?
Previously, there was no synergy on Amaru's 𝗂𝗃.
True.
Yeah, I mean, Oshidashi, that's definitely good damage. The 𝗂𝗃 with the synergy does just shy of 50%. Base jump is bringing down this 𝗬𝗏. But that's not the end of this this Faiman 𝗂𝘃 synergy master shenanigans. This Momo does exist if Faiman wants to go that route, but also this 𝗂𝘃 could be protected for a little while longer and give synergy Hellfire to 𝗃𝗃 a little bit later. Faiman definitely not out of it despite a pretty rough game 1. He's done much better for himself on game 2. He's fighting back against 𝗂𝘃𝗃 very well. He's done quite a lot of damage to 𝗵𝗏 already, and has a kill on that detrimental 𝗧𝗵𝗵. So much better showing in game 2, with potentially a lead that Faiman's a little bit more comfortable with.
Yeah, so Faiman elected to bring out this 𝗏𝗏𝗃 for the time right now. So energy manipulation is online, as it always is. You don't have the 𝗂𝗃 synergy though for the side of Faiman, so Amaru's 𝗂𝘃 should be at least able to get off anything if he wants to let it go for this turn. He already, you know, he took down the 𝗬𝗏. He maybe could keep a water cannon for the 𝗃𝗃. I could maybe see a reason for Shakur retreating the 𝗂𝘃 now. And maybe that Voldaren feeling okay now. So we'll see. I think the 𝗂𝘃 might be retreating for the time being. But maybe if he wants to read that, a heavy beta burst into 𝗵𝗏. So this 𝗏𝗏𝗃 just pressuring out both sides, I want to say.
Yeah, 𝗏𝗏𝗃 was a fantastic pick. I think... Right? I think that we've seen that previously, that it wasn't able to go before Amaru's 𝗂𝘃, even without synergy on 𝗂𝘃's side. I think that's what we saw, at least. This 𝗂𝘃 was just unbelievably speedy. If that's the case, and 𝗏𝗏𝗃's not able to go first, not able to bring 𝗂𝘃 down before the 𝗂𝗃, that could be pretty detrimental, as 𝗵𝗏 would take down Faiman's 𝗂𝘃, and Amaru's 𝗂𝘃 would do a lot of damage onto this 𝗏𝗏𝗃.
Yeah, very true. And yeah, Amaru has the synergy right now, so that's 3 prio synergy. If 𝗏𝗏𝗏 can't kill with the EM on 𝗏𝗏𝗏, which is looking kind of rough, a little bit too tall of a task, but 𝗏𝗏𝗏 not trying to eat a 𝗬𝗏𝗄𝗀, rather eat it with the 𝗧𝗏𝗃. Let's see what goes down. It's a double swap on the side of Faiman.
Ooh, I do like this one. Yeah, Momo comes in. That means he's going to get Undermine available. 𝗧𝗏𝗃 as well. He eats that 𝗬𝗏𝗄𝗀 like a champion. Momo a little less so. but Undermine is available. Momo can leave. 𝗏𝗏𝗃 can come back out for the synergy Hellfire. It probably wouldn't be enough to kill this 𝗏𝗏𝗃, but if Faiman's expecting Amaru to swap, then it could be quite good onto either 𝗏𝗏𝗏 or Grandpa.
Yeah, I agree. So making Shakur think about potentially just resting on the 𝗏𝗏𝗃 to try to eat the Hellfire the best it can. It is 1/4 damage from some fire techniques. So that's something he's considering. If it stays alive, you could get another 𝗬𝗏𝗄𝗀, but 𝗵𝗶𝗃 might be getting all the brunt from Faiman's force here. Something like Hellfire. If Momo stays in, Goring was just deployed, so if Momo's normal priority can outspeed 𝗵𝗃𝗃's normal prio, you could get a crazy Undermine. It's not even necessary. So we'll see. It might be a bit of an overkill. I think Hellfire Double Edge definitely kills the 𝗵𝗃𝗃, but then that leaves the 𝗵𝗃𝗃 to get off 1 attack. Or actually, it's at +1 speed because of unnoticed. So I don't think Momo outspeeds the 𝗵𝗃𝗃 there.
Momo retreats for this 𝗏𝗏𝗏. And I think that's good. I mean, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is definitely a much better counter for 𝗵𝗃𝗃. Momo takes quite a lot of damage, and you'd probably prefer to use Undermine on something that you don't have a solid answer for. Probably like that 𝗏𝗏𝗏 instead. Sandstorm, though, from this 𝗧𝗏𝗃 does pretty good damage onto 𝗵𝗃𝗃. Not too much onto Grandpa, but it would have been enough to kill that 𝗏𝗏𝗃 if it had stayed in.
Yeah, definitely enough to kill the 𝗏𝗏𝗃. I agree. So just Shakur saving that 𝗏𝗏𝗃 most likely, or when he has a better opportunity to gun down the 𝗧𝗏𝗃, or just try to get off a final 𝗬𝗏𝗄𝗀 later on in the game. But 𝗵𝗃𝗃 staying in means 𝗵𝗃𝗃 might be going down. Can these Tems get the kill on 𝗧𝗏𝗃? Oh, it was kind of going a little slower at the end, but yes, getting the kill on 𝗧𝗏𝗃. So 𝗏𝗏𝗃 just looking for 𝗬𝗏𝗄𝗀 later on.
Yeah, I mean that's a little disheartening to see 𝗧𝗏𝗃 fall down without any synergy Hellfires, as that would have done quite a lot of damage, and the burn would have been even more effective in just keeping some of these Tems on Faiman's side alive for longer, since they're already getting relatively low on HP compared to Amaru's side.
Yeah, so the Battle of the Birds here on Amaru's side. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 coming in for the first time, but a hyperkinetic strike is online for this Grandpa. I actually can't recall if he's running HKS, because a lot of special attack Grandpas, they don't run the most speed, so I could see a world where you don't run it. Something like 𝗰𝗵𝕋 Hypnosis. Or no, if it's not speed, you shouldn't run Hypnosis. So honestly, it probably should be running HKS if that's enough for that cleanup. Oh, but the willpower drain on the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏.
Willpower drain onto a neutrality 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 though, so it didn't really accomplish anything.
Yeah,
that was a bit of an unfortunate demise for the Grandpa. It is nice to see the willpower drain though. That's not as popular as it once was. Momo falls it down to that noxious bomb, but 𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗃, it is overexerting, so it did actually take it away. It just had a visual bug where it took forever.
yeah, it looks like it did. I think on my screen it did look like it got reduced in stamina. So hey, good willpower drain, overexerting the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗃. So now it's a 2v2 situation. The 𝗏𝗏𝗃 surviving till the end, but one of these Temtems have noxious bomb. And hey, depends who outspeeds who. Faiman has the speed arrow, but I believe Shakur's Temtems have been going a bit faster. No synergy is online. I think
Amaru's 𝗏𝗏𝗃 is definitely the faster fish.
And Volorin, the fastest Tem. So, oh, gunning down the Barnchi. Forget the Quish. You know, Shakur looking like a solid rematch, guys. 2-0 in Faiman. So our losers bracket has come to a speedy conclusion. That was a heck of a fast matchup there.